Think of your dream property, and then think a little harder, and you'll begin to get an idea of what the most expensive homes in the world look like. Now I am sure you have something modern and big in mind, probably something that we have seen the rich flaunt in videos. And although all those houses are fabulous, no doubt, do you know what the world's most expensive property is? The Buckingham Palace. With an estimated value of over $5 billion, this property is a league of itself in terms of size and architecture. But what makes this palace stand out from everything else on the planet? Let's see in this video. But before we move to the insides of the marvelous structure at hand, first let's see a bit of its history as well. Buckingham Palace, as we know it today, has become synonymous with the official London residence of the resigning British monarch. However, it is not always served in that capacity. It became the principal royal residence only in 1837, on the accession of Queen Victoria, who was the first monarch to reside there. Before it, for more than 300 years, the King of England's official residence in the capital city was St. James's Palace, which still stands and is home to several members of the royal family. The land on which Buckingham Palace sits, in the Borough of London, Westminster, has been in the hands of the British monarchy for more than 400 years. It is reported that King James I bought the site to serve as a royal garden. There was a home on the site at the time, and it changed hands several times before being sold to John Sheffield in 1698, who built a new house on the site. The structure, designed and built by William Wynne and John Fitch, became the Buckingham Palace. In 1761, King George III purchased Buckingham House from Sir Charles Sheffield and paid €73,000 to renovate the edifice. The goal of the king was to utilize it as a residence for his wife, Queen Charlotte, and their children. After his family moved there, the structure was dubbed the Queen's House. Following the death of King George III in 1820, the king's son, George IV, rose to the throne. However, at the time, he was 60 years old and in ill health. Despite this, he liked Buckingham Palace, and since he grew up there, he wanted it to be the official royal residence. Thus, to achieve this goal, he hired the architect John Nash, who enlarged and renovated the structure. As George IV's health deteriorated, Nash designed and expanded Buckingham House into a massive U-shaped edifice made of stone quarries near Bath, England. His design enlarged the main body of the structure by adding west wings as well as north and south branches. The east wings were also reconstructed. Thus, the new palace's wings encircled a wide court, and the architect erected a triumphal arch in the center of the palace's forecourt, with paintings reflecting Britain's recent military victories, to make an imposing entry for visiting guests. Despite the fact that Nash's work on the new palace was warmly accepted and the structure is widely regarded as an architectural masterpiece today, he was fired by British government officials shortly after George IV's death in 1830. But why was that, might you ask? Well, the answer is pretty simple. The project's budget. Nash's masterwork cost British taxpayers over €400,000 to construct, and to make matters worse, when George IV's brother, William IV, got to the throne in 1830, he had no desire to move to the freshly constructed Buckingham Palace. William IV proposed the legislature relocate to Buckingham Palace, but the offer was rebuffed. Following the death of William IV in 1837, his niece, Victoria, ascended to the throne and became the first royal residence of Buckingham Palace. However, soon after moving into the palace, Queen Victoria grumbled about the lack of space for entertaining foreign guests. As a result, in 1845, the architect Edward Bloor was hired to enclose Nash's courtyard on the east side in order to build staterooms and ballrooms. The triumphal arch at Buckingham Palace was relocated to nearby Hyde Park. When Victoria's son Edward II ascended to the throne, he also redesigned the palace's interior, and this is the version we see today. In measurements, Buckingham Palace is 108 meters long across the front, 120 meters deep, including the central quadrangle, and 24 meters high. The 830,000 square foot structure houses 775 rooms, including 19 staterooms, 52 royal and guest beds, 188 staff bedrooms, 92 offices, and 78 baths. There is also a post office, a theater, a swimming pool, a doctor's surgery, and a jeweler's workshop. In the north wing, the royal family has a small suite of private rooms. The principal rooms are contained on the first floor piano noble behind the west-facing garden facade at the rear of the palace. The center of this ornate suite of staterooms is the music room, and flanking it are the blue and white drawing rooms. At the center of the suite, serving as a corridor to link the staterooms, is the picture gallery, which is top-lit and 55 yards long. The gallery is hung with numerous works, including some by Rembrandt, Van Dyck, Rubens, and Vermeer. Other rooms leading from the picture gallery are the throne room and the green drawing room. The green drawing room serves as a huge anteroom to the throne room and is part of the ceremonial route to the throne from the guard room at the top of the grand staircase. The guard room contains white marble statues of Queen Victoria and Prince Albert in Roman costume, set in a tribune line with tapestries. These very formal rooms are used only for ceremonial and official entertaining, but are open to the public every summer. Directly underneath the state apartments are the less grand semi-state apartments. At the center of this floor is the bow room, through which thousands of guests pass annually to the monarch's garden parties. When paying a state visit to Britain, foreign heads of state are usually allocated an extensive suite of rooms known as the Belgian Suite, situated at the foot of the minister's staircase on the ground floor of the west-facing garden wing. Narrow corridors link the rooms of the suite, and one of them is given extra height and perspective by saucer domes designed by Nash. A second corridor in the suite even has Gothic-influenced crossover vaulting. The original early 19th century interior design, many of which still survive, include widespread use of brightly colored scagliolas and blue and pink lapis on the advice of Sir Charles Long. Next we have the East Wing, whose rooms have a distinctly ornate atmosphere. The red and blue Chinese luncheon room is made up of parts of the Brighton banqueting and music rooms with a large oriental chimney piece. The ornate clock, known as the Kylin clock, was made in Jingdezhen, China. The yellow drawing room has wallpaper supplied in 1817 for the Brighton Saloon, and a chimney piece which is a European vision of how the Chinese chimney piece may appear. It has nodding mandarin in niches and fearsome winged dragons designed by Robert Jones. At the center of this wing is the famous balcony of the central room behind its glass doors. This is a Chinese-style saloon enhanced by Queen Mary. Running the length of the piano noble of the East Wing is the Great Gallery, modestly known as the principal corridor. It has mirrored doors and mirrored cross walls reflecting porcelain pagodas and other oriental furniture from Brighton. Investitures take place in the palace's ballroom. Built in 1854, it is the largest room in the palace at 120 feet long, 60 feet wide, and 45 feet high. It has even replaced the throne room in use, and during investitures, the king stands on the throne dais beneath a giant domed velvet canopy, known as a shamiana or a baldachin. At the end of our list and also the palace is the large garden, which covers 42 acres including a helicopter landing area, a lake, and a tennis court. Adjacent to the palace is the Roman Mews, also designed by Nash, where the royal carriages, including the gold state coach, are housed.